Well, it's official. We bought an $80,000 converted wheelchair accessible 2026 Toyota Sienna.
Don't be lying to people. We didn't pay
We-
$80,000 for it.
I didn't say we paid. I said we bought.
Ah, clickbait, huh?
Sure. I'm warning.
I'm Marisa,
I'm Conor.
and together we're
Carissa.
Carissa.
But yeah, we got a new van. It's pretty fancy. It is a 2026 Toyota Sienna, ice cap, white as they say.
And LE
And
trim
we,
level.
yes. Should we show everyone?
Yeah, counterclockwise.
Do the big reveal?
Yeah.
Counterclockwise?
Yep.
Should I sing a song?
No.
We have a reveal song. Ready? Oh, it was the Jurassic Park theme. But there she is. Or he. They. So, some backstory. We previously had a. Wait, I'm going to use Marissa's head to block myself. There we go. We previously had a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, and her name was Bertha because she was big and burly and she got us places. So we need a name for our new van, whether it's a he or a she. We don't know yet. They have not told us how they identify. They have not revealed their gender to us yet. So we were asking YouTube to come up with names. So please comment below with your name. Our favorite will win, and that will be the new identity of our van. So help us out.
Yeah.
All right, should we
Yeah, let's get into the fun part.
fun
Why
part?
people are watching this.
Yes.
Obviously
Okay.
not for us. All right, so, we've got our totally new, brand new 2026 Toyota Sienna. The trim level is LE. So yeah,
Okay, you can come too.
what?
You can come in too.
I can come in too?
Yep.
So this is our Toyota Sienna LE. It is a BraunAbility conversion. We didn't really have a choice in VMI or BraunAbility just
No.
due to how the process worked in getting our van.
Watch our next video for that process.
Just some things to point out. Our van is wheelchair accessible, obviously. It has steps to get into the driver's side and passenger side
Because it's super lifted.
because it is very lifted compared to our other van. Additionally, you can kind of tell by like the depth over here. I don't actually know if this is in frame, but
It is.
give me 1 second.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Sweet. It kind of is. So right here you can see how high the lift is. Just kind of by this, it's a lot. It's like probably this much versus normal vehicles are probably
I mean,
maybe
put
only
your
about this
arm up
much.
to it.
I mean, here's
Like
kind of my hand for
elbow.
an elbow. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like just for reference. That provides the floor to be able to be lowered closer to the ground and just allow for the vehicle to become wheelchair accessible.
Which also, like, we'll show you from the inside, but
Yeah, this
there's
is
a
kind of
lot
just
of
the
headroom.
exterior.
There's a lot of headroom.
So that's kind of just like this side of the vehicle.
Do you want to show the liftgate?
Yeah, so we'll move out of the way and open up the van for you.
The liftgate?
The lift gate. Oh, the lift gate in the back. Yeah, good idea. So this is another feature that was not standard in the LE trim when we were looking at the 2025. It was only standard in the XLE trim, but it is the you're gonna get hit.
Yep. Great, because I can't see. Because of sun is too bright.
Is double pressing for the automatic lift gate. Oh, just kidding. That's not the right button. Sorry, YouTube.
We're still learning.
Double clicking for the automatic lift gate. So it automatically rises. That's standard now in the LE trims for 2026. So it's an improvement. I think.
Is it an improvement?
Yeah, I'm learning to like it. I'm embracing it.
But I mean, to be fair, with how high it is, it's
Yeah,
nice.
that is a bonus. So like I typically like our manual lift gates just because I like controlling aspects of it. But because it's so high, like I kind of have to tippy toe to like be able to manually push it down. which has its pros and has its cons. Sorry.
Still wearing the buttons.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the door to close. In our other van, you could just double click it, but now the whole ramp has
Is
to
this
come out.
on your list?
Yeah. Talking about lists, I'll talk about that in a little second. So it has the ability to use it via the button on the remote, or there's a button back here that just kind of lowers it out. Oh, come on, door. All right. So that's kind of the power lift gate that's in this one that like really wasn't in the alley trim before. So that's they threw it in for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Toyota did as a whole.
Thanks, Toyota. I do want to show everyone, just for comparison, or for context, I guess, to see how big it is. What is the front compared to me? Okay, I can't see. It's funny. But yeah, it's huge. If this sucker hit me on the street, I'd be ignored. So hopefully Marissa's a good driver. Because any children out there, look out.
Wow.
You are a good driver.
All right, and really there's nothing else that like on the outside it's like a regular van.
Yeah.
Looks a little different, drives a little different, but other than that, like,
Should we get in?
I think we should get in.
Alright.
All right, so we just double click, just kidding, single press. Still learning this thing. And
The double click was our old man.
What?
The double click was our old man.
Yeah, the double click was our old van. I'm just like, it does come, we chose for the fold out ramp instead of the in-floor ramp. And it does, this new update compared to our van comes with like lighting strips. It looks like a little runway.
Doesn't really help me.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
no.
doesn't really help, Connor.
Well, are you getting...
I mean, to be fair, it's everything
me.
it's new and just like, there we go. I think you keep hitting it, that's why.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is our new van. Let's get
It
inside.
has a kneeling feature.
Oh, it does have the kneeling feature, which I don't know if you can actually, you might be able to see on the video. Like
Yeah.
it physically lowers on one, is it one side or all sides?
Just one side.
On one side, so that way it makes the incline less steep, which Connor seems to like. I think that's...
Yeah, it's something the city though, because we put a lot of like curbsides. And
Yeah, and I'm really worried about getting this guy scraped every
Yeah.
time it kneels if we get too close to a curb, you
but
know?
you can turn it off. And we'll
Yeah.
show you that in a minute.
Yeah, all right,
So-
come on inside.
There we go. So you can see I have plenty of room. If you want to show them my little tie down.
Yeah, so in the van we have one of the features, instead of the like in-floor tie downs, we opted for the quick lock,
Which is automatic.
which is an automatic tie down.
No more dealing with
So
manual
it
straps.
connects to like the bolt underneath his chair, slides right into this little doohickey, and it locks his chair into the
I'm
van.
gonna drive into my spot. I'm not gonna lock myself because I don't want to.
It takes a little navigating, but yeah, so
Oh mate, Shoot.
good news is he's locked in,
I
so
am.
I
So
gotta go around to the other side real quick.
I'm stuck.
So please bear with us. Oh no, really bright. Sorry, YouTube. So yeah, he's locked himself in. So I guess that starts the front part of the van. Oh, I should close the door.
That's fine.
Oh well. New to this stuff, you know?
YouTubers.
So I gotta start the van real quick. It's one of those fancy new vehicles where you gotta like push the brake.
Do you have to start it to release me?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. So I'm gonna release Connor, and how we do that, how we do that is there's this little guy right down here. I'm gonna move my hand out of the way so the frame auto focuses. Right here, and we press unlock.
Oh,
Oh, look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we learned something. TIL.
I'm free.
So that's something new. Let me go around and.
Yeah, I am move. Where you?
There we go. I need to close the door.
Oh.
I have a fear of it leaving it open, but I'm using it to block the sun.
But
So I think you're in the sun. Are you in the sun?
not really.
Okay, so that's the beginning part of our van. Outside, at least.
Is there any other accessibility? Oh, yeah, you can see the head height.
Yeah, the head height that Conor has is kind of, a lot. It's almost to the point where I can stand up in it and comfortably, but I can't.
Which, the one nice thing is I can do this.
Yeah, he can actually use his JACO robotic arm in the car.
I can do that.
He couldn't do that in our last van. So that is a bonus. I mean, the negative effect of that is that the van is actually dropped further down or raised higher, so it can be dropped further down.
Yeah, can you
Yeah,
show?
I was gonna show my feet here. So you can tell my feet don't touch the ground.
Oh, so can you jump my view?
You can see my feet don't touch the ground. So they're kind of floating in the air when I come into this space. So.
And my view.
And his view.
Yeah.
At his level, is very limited.
Yeah.
Just due to, how the van is converted.
But it is what it is. Alright, now we get into Marisa's favorite part of the video.
My favorite part of the video?
She even made a list.
I did make a list because...
those of you...
Do you want to know why I made a list?
What?
Because Conor said that if I make a complaints video, I can't complain anymore about the van. So I need to make sure that I got everything that I want to complain about the van in this video.
Can we show them the list?
Yeah, we can. It's in really big font just so I can see it because I'm old and stuff, but
yeah, though.
So I mean,
you want to dive in?
I would like to dive in. Yeah, I'm just behind the scenes here. Fun fact.
You played Master Tape or brand new van?
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so I mean, I think let's start with the accessibility or design issues. So we opted. So traditionally, we opt. He likes to ride passenger,
Yep.
As opposed to being in the further back of the vehicle. And in doing that, we have to remove the passenger seat. But if you're familiar with van conversions, or even if you're not, the seats click into bolts basically in the floor. And so when you remove the seat, the bolts still stay there. So ultimately you're driving into that area where the bolts are. And we've just kind of noticed in our last van that it started to wear after a while and isn't level and flat. So we opted for these metal plates that go on the sides. So I think that's definitely a bonus that I think that this time around we were smart and wise in using that. Another positive thing that I think this van conversion got right. I'm gonna start with the positives. There's only 3.
I realized it was positive.
There's only 3, okay?
Oh.
Is that this actually has a spare tire. I was looking at some research in wheelchair accessible vehicles, and sometimes they include in conversions not having a spare tire. And for me, that's a big deal. I mean, in reality, it's not. You probably have AAA or other resources. But to be able to just change your tire if you need it is just an important fact for me. So
Well, yeah, especially it's easy to change your tire when you're in the northeast where there's no wilderness. But when we're driving to your mom's house.
Yeah, we were kind of going through sparse parts of the middle America.
Oklahoma or Texas where there's just nothing.
So, that's kind of another plus. And then I think the last one is just that the ride is overall smoother.
It is.
I mean, it might be because it's a new car. It might be because of who knows what. Dodge, Toyota, who really knows?
I think it's the inertia.
It might be a lighter vehicle overall, Dodge. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like tanks have smooth rides.
Yeah. So that's kind of like one thing that like has been nicer and isn't something that I expected.
Yeah.
All right, now on to my favorite part, the complaints. So the ramp is noisy. I won't get that wrong, but I think that the fold down ramp is a lot less noisy than
So as noisy as both those ramp.
as the like slide in ramp. So like that's not really a complaint, but like it's a complaint overall. Like it's still noisier than like if you were to just not have converted a vehicle. But like
It's still a complaint, but I'm not complaining about it.
yeah, pretty much. The next thing is we didn't opt for the trim level that had this, but there were 2 trim levels. The I think like platinum and like sport
Yeah.
or something along the lines where
Everything above the XLE.
where it's a heavier vehicle when they convert it, and so like you have to have highway road safety standards. So if a vehicle's over a certain weight, like you can only have certain things. So I'm not sure if you can see in the back seat, they actually put like a bar splitting the back seat. So instead of being a 3-person back seat, it's really just a 2-person back seat. And so
To cut down on weight.
to cut down on weight, because ultimately you could hold less people and it would be lighter, so to speak. So I mean, we're really glad that we didn't go with one of those trim models, just because we do use the back seat to like lay down when we're not driving, you know, things like that that Conor uses as an accessibility feature.
Yep.
The other thing is this center console. I'm gonna call it an accessibility feature. I don't know if Braun has any ability to change any of this, just because this is Toyota. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if the BraunAbility, but like this right here is like in the way. Like you can see my knee hits it when I come out this direction, and like I've got some thunder thighs, so like it's maybe for skinny people it works, but like it doesn't work for me.
Other disabled couple influencers probably have no problem.
Exactly. We'll just leave it at that. So, you know, that's kind of an annoyance. I don't think it's accessibility. I don't know if it's BraunAbilities or just like Toyota design in general. But like it would have been really nice if they could have just like chopped off the extra like 6 inches that like the little console is down there, just so it makes egress a lot easier through in here. Yes, you could argue, okay, we'll just get out the driver's door and go all the way around. But that's like a pain, in my opinion. But also this is my rant video, so like who cares? Then I also feel like as a whole, they don't really have a whole lot of like.
Hey, can I interject one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't aim for me because I keep being.
Yeah, his arm. I'm not sure if you can see, but his arm right here, like this whole piece right here, hits the corner every time, and so like it doesn't hit every time, but he has to be very cognizant about, you know, getting in and out of this little area because it can hit. So that's just kind of like, it's a little pain. And then I feel like as a whole, like, I don't know what accessibility would mean in terms of here, but I feel like it's not like the amount of height that they lowered the van or raised the van or however you want it. Like, it doesn't allow Conor to see out the front window easily. Like, he looks like a little 5-year-old, you know, like peeking over like the thing.
Yeah,
like,
it will bug you anyway.
Yeah, so like,
I
feel like they didn't take into account like that feature, like the whole console feature. Like, there are just plenty of things that I think that like, I mean, they probably do consult people when converting vehicles. I don't really know. I've never, you know, experienced that side of it.
Us.
But yeah, I feel like they did not do a great job of consulting all possible disabilities in terms of how you might use a van. So that's kind of like the accessibility design issues. The next thing is just like practicality of this thing. Like Conor mentioned earlier, it's like literally a tank. Like this sucker is huge. Like I feel like it takes up almost the entire width of a lane, and like that's kind of nerve-wracking when you're driving in high traffic.
Especially in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, in Hawaii the lanes are like microscopic, and like the vehicle takes up like the whole width of the lane, and it's like it's really nerve-wracking as a driver.
Wait, so no, he's very in context there.
We did not drive this van in Hawaii. For context, we drove a 2025 Toyota Sienna.
No, it's 2023.
2023?
Yeah.
2024?
24.
I don't know. We drove another Toyota Sienna that was
VMI.
converted, but it was a VMI conversion. So just a little side note caveat there. The other thing is it's been really hard and difficult to adjust to city driving and parking in this thing. I mean, I know it's brand new and you drive like a little more delicate when it's brand new, but like curbs are like the most nerve-wracking thing for me. So comment down below if you also drive a wheelchair accessible vehicle, and parallel park and curbs are like freaking you out, because they freak me out. Because like I'm like the side panel could be torn. Like
you've never told me this before.
Yeah,
Why is it figure you out?
Because I'm really afraid about damaging the side panel every time I go to open the door.
But the side panel, they just added on.
Yeah, but then I have to replace it. I have to spend the money to replace it if I crack it or
No,
break
you
it.
don't. We don't need it.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I'm kind of irritated with is that it has zero, like not zero trunk space. There is trunk space back there. But like we normally travel with at least 3 suitcases at minimum. I mean, you can watch our other videos with like what we typically travel with, and it doesn't effectively fit in the van. Like in an easy fashion. Usually we, in our old vehicle we could pile 3 suitcases in no problem, and now it's like we can pile 1 and maybe another one back there just because of the depth that the van has. I'm assuming it's because of the conversion is a hybrid, so you need to add the like hybrid battery back there and other components that like decrease the
It's also
space.
the seat. Like, because the seat, like, tilts back into the space.
It does. So like I guess it's maybe one of the new features of the new vans. Like the back seats you can like make variable in terms of like camber or something. Like I don't really know. Like
the recline.
Yeah, they recline, so to speak, and it takes up more space in the back. So like you could have them at a more 90-degree angle, but then like you're also at a 90-degree angle and people are now sitting, because that's also another complaint I have. The camber in the back seat is like, instead of being like a 90-degree seat, it's more like a 45. And so like you slide into the seat because it's so like angled back. So like if you angle the front part back and angle this part out, you're like sitting in like a little like squish touch hump.
Which I don't mind.
Which he doesn't mind, but like I mind.
And that's like a silly complaint. But like for Marisa, like I lay back there when I'm, uncomfortable or need to cough or whatever, and getting me up from that like incline.
Like, yeah, that camber, like the like little crevice down here,
makes it really difficult for her.
Yeah, so that's kind of a complaint, I guess you could say. Now for the coup d'etat, or what do you call it? The like most complaining part of this complaining series, the technology.
Coup de grace.
Coup de grace?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like they're just like, what should we put here? Let's put a touchscreen. Like, I feel like they overuse touchscreens in this thing. Like, it has a giant screen.
There's only one touchscreen.
Yeah, but then you got all, this isn't a touchscreen, the like panel over
they
here.
Can't see what you're pushing.
And like it's supposed to control your air conditioning and your heater and all of that stuff, along with like navigation and Apple CarPlay, and like to the point of like I couldn't even figure out how to turn on the radio. That's how complicated this thing is.
No, you figure out a radio. You can be a seek.
Yeah, it doesn't have a seek feature. So like I don't know how to change my radio station to another radio station, and what if I want to hear the white noise static? Like I should be able to. So it's just complicated and annoying. Also, one thing that I've realized, maybe it's just because I'm used to driving a 2023 and I drove 2013.
Yeah.
And I drove a 2015 before that. Like, it's got all these assist features. Like, I don't need you to tell me when I'm not using my turn signal to move a lane. Like, I know that. I don't need you to tell me, oh, you're getting really close to another car. Like, I'm going to stop the car for you. Like, I don't need you to tell me this. I also don't need you to tell me in my backup camera, like, hey, hello, there's something back here. Like, it's just, there's too many automated, like, features, which I guess I'm not a fan of.
Well, you can turn those off.
Yeah, but I think you can only turn them off per trip. So, like, every time I get in the van, I have to turn them off.
That's true.
So, like, that's an annoyance. I mean, some people might like that. That might be their jam. I don't really know. The other thing is I have noticed in these new vans, well, it's also standard as of, like, 2020 or something, to have a backup camera, which annoys me because I've seen so many people not use their side mirrors and just use their backup camera. Like, bro.
But why is your backup camera
annoy me? Because it's just there on a giant LCD screen. So if we didn't have a backup camera, we wouldn't have an LCD screen.
That's an assumption.
Because I don't like it.
But
so,
I like it.
Do you?
I do. It makes me feel like I can participate.
Oh, okay.
Like, be like, oh, don't back up, or you just hit a munchkin.
Awesome. All right, cool. The other thing is on my, like, I don't think you can see it. I'll have to start the vehicle real quick. So I have a display here. And kind of see it. It's like electronic. And I can't figure out how to like get my miles per gallon. Much less get my miles per gallon, but like see my RPMs. It doesn't have an RPM gauge. Like, what kind of crap is this? I use my RPMs personally to find out like and gauge my gas mileage, so I know if my RPMs are higher. I know what in my previous vehicle where my RPMs need to be to get the most optimal gas mileage. So I might use my RPM gauge a little differently than other people do, but I feel like you didn't even include it in this.
She used to play a game to see how much, what the peak gas mileage she could get in an old man was. So
Which
she would watch the RPM gauge like a hawk, trying to keep it perfect.
Which, I mean, to be fair, wasn't that great. So, which leads me to the next part. Honestly, this vehicle hasn't been getting great gas mileage.
That's true.
And I've done my research. Like, I've tried to figure out, like, is it an issue with my driving? Like, am I just driving badly? Is there an issue with, like, the hybrid battery? Like, something just... We've been getting, like, 26 miles to the gallon, which doesn't even seem accurate. But that's just according to, like, this, like, little thing that they provide me, which doesn't give me any context as to how many miles I've driven this trip or, like, any other information. Like, this is just...
It's rated at 36.
Yeah, the window sticker does show 36 miles per gallon, city and highway. And we do most city driving, so it's like this is kind of an annoyance.
Yep.
The last thing is it has a push button start, which kind of frustrates me. Like, let me put a key in, let me turn it. Like, I don't want to have to push the brake. I just want to make sure my vehicle's in park and I can start it. Like, I don't want to have to push the brake and do all this other stuff because, like, sometimes I just don't have hands or feet to push the brake. Like, doing other things when I just want the car to start. So, like, that's kind of a frustrating moment. All right, so I think the next thing on the back is the comfort and the interior aspect
What about
of
the
it.
notification?
What notification?
About people in the back seat.
Oh, yeah. There's... So, when we travel...
You made a list and you just took it right over it.
When we travel, I do put stuff on our back seat, just because that's the easiest way, like, if we need easy access to it. Yeah, because there's no trunk space. Well, in doing that, there's some sort of sensor that's like, hey, every time I turn off the vehicle, it, like, beeps loudly and, like, is super annoying. Like, you should really check your back seat. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's medical equipment. It's not going anywhere. Thanks. So that's kind of an annoying fact. So if you know how to turn that off, that would be much appreciated. Yes, I get that it is useful for somebody who does have a child in the back seat and you don't want to forget your children back there. But, like,
well,
when you don't have children, like, you should be able to, like, edit that. But my own personal opinion. We talked a little bit about back seat angle. The other thing is the footrest. I don't know.
No. It's only a move scene show.
Yeah.
It requires demonstration.
Yeah, it's a annoyance in my opinion, but so typically, when you're here, I'll just sit in our back seat. You can kind of see the angle. So typically when you're sitting back here, you can kind of see, oh, I'm really dark back here. There we go. You can kind of see, like, my headroom is very low. But in the same aspect, you can see my feet also dangle back here. So they were like, BraunAbility, we've thought about this. So in combating that, they have come up with this nifty little design, not really, of a fold down, like, footrest thing. But the issue is, if I fold it down, Conor can't do anything. So now every time if there's somebody back here, I have to be like, oh, excuse me, do you mind picking up the footrest so that way we can, Conor can get out of the van? And it's like, is annoying. Versus our other van, the footrest was automatic. You mind scooting back so I can get up there?
Sure. I mean, no, I don't mind.
Our footrest was kind of like on a, like, pull, like, I don't know what's the spring. It was on a spring. So, like, you would put the footrest down when you needed it, and then it would just flop back up when you don't need it. Additionally, seats back there are 60-40, so there's one seat and two seats. I don't know why it's called 60-40 when there's one and two, but, like, whatever. So you could put down the two if you wanted, or you can flop it up, or you can put down the one if you wanted, or you can flop it up. But, like, this one, you're, like, stuck using the whole thing, and it's an annoyance, in my opinion.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I do actually. Every morning it happens. The next thing, I don't know.
Probably pneumonia.
Yeah, probably you're right. Is I don't know if it happens to other people, but like women who have hair, like this thing is annoying. Like minor annoyance on my opinion, but like still every time I drive, like my hair hits it. I look sideways, my hair hits it. Like yeah, you could say just get a different hairstyle, cut your hair. Like sure, those are all options. None of which I want to do. Like just make my headrest work properly. The other thing that we mentioned at the beginning of the video a little bit is that there's a step to get in and out, and like the van is so lowered or raised, depending on how you look at it, that like you can't just step out of the vehicle. You need an additional step, and I can't just like there's like an extra step inside, basically. Like it's a thicker than one step, you know. So that's kind of generally, you know, an annoyance. My last one, it's more an aggravation than an annoyance. Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah. And I don't really want to put it on the conversion company. I think it's a Toyota issue, in my opinion.
I mean, it's a car industry issue.
A car industry issue?
Yeah.
What?
Prioritizing tech?
Yeah, but Connor's like didn't even know where I was going.
Oh.
The heater just doesn't get hot.
Oh.
Like it just doesn't, and I don't know what like typically in other vehicles, I mean at least in older vehicles, you put on that heat, like sometimes you're like moving your foot away because like that sucker is really hot. And this just doesn't get hot. It gets like kind of warm. But like I'm not like at any point trying to avoid the heat, which is like I think what should happen when you put on your
and for
heat.
me as someone that like is freezing cold most of between October and April, really hot years are wonderful, and these are not so much.
And then the last part, just to close it out, since the frog is in my throat.
Get them out.
I think this is a general criticism over the like whole car industry. Like it's not tied specific to Braun, it's not tied specifically to Toyota. I just feel like they prioritize tech over functionality. Like they're like, oh, I think these people must want a giant LCD screen. I think these people must want electronic gauges. I think they might want all of these things. Like, no, we don't want these things. Actually, let me rephrase that. I don't want these things. And I feel like I should have the ability when I'm buying a car to like find the car that doesn't have those things. But like they don't exist. And it's really frustrating. And then I feel like as a whole, vehicles in the United States have just gotten really large, which I mean has helped out with Conor. He doesn't feel claustrophobic in the car, like, you know, those kind of things. But also like
you make it though I have claustrophobia.
You don't have claustrophobia.
I know.
I'm just making us not so bright because you're in like a little bit of a but like the van is huge. Like it's not even an understatement. Like all vehicles nowadays are huge. And I just feel like that's a annoyance. Like it's hard to find parking when they're huge. It's hard to turn around in spaces when it's huge. Like it's hard to drive in tight congested areas when it's huge. So like again, general criticism of everything. And then I think that like my last thing is a frustration just with the modern car design trend overall. Like I feel like they just do whatever they want to do, don't really like figure out is this what people want, and then people are just forced to pay the prices of whatever the vehicle they want is. Like it's a frustration with the car industry. I like cars and like they've really gone downhill recently in my opinion.
But I feel like that's a you thing. But I feel like most people like the new trends. I feel like you're an old soul.
Oh, I'm an old soul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a compliment.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I married you, didn't I?
Yeah, maybe he's a cougar.
No, you're the cougar. You would be the cougar.
Oh.
I would be the cub.
Sure.
Nice try, though.
So, you know, just as a wrap up, like, would I recommend this van? Yes. Like, there's no one in my mind that's going to be like, don't get a wheelchair van if you need one.
I guess the question is, would you recommend a van? Or is it just that, like, there's literally no other choice?
Yeah, I don't think I would tell my friends, oh, you're looking for a van? Like, this one's great. It's got everything you need. It's got all these features. But I'd just be like, well, you have 3 choices. Like, make the best one that you can.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like they don't provide.
My interjection would be, if you're gonna get a van, Toyota has the advantage in that Toyota has a mobility division. So
Yeah.
they are very linked up with BraunAbility and VMI, and you can go to a Toyota mobility dealership and work with the Toyota representative
And
to get your vehicle.
I was saying, basically, like, you could go into a Toyota dealership and walk out with the Toyota vehicle and not have to
Correct.
worry about going to this other person and finding this dealer and doing all these other things that, like, you would have to do in any other situation.
And getting back to the whole, like, we bought an $80,000 van. Marissa's right. We didn't pay that much. We paid only half that much. And we'll talk about that in another video. But Toyota also offers a rebate for up to $1,000 just for buying a
Converted.
converted
Yeah.
Toyota.
So, I mean, overall, yes, I don't think I would, like,
And I will say,
recommend, but
they made it very easy to get that rebate. We just received the check, yesterday. So I can attest to you will get your check.
and then, like, in the grand scheme of things, obviously, unless you're, like, heavily involved in the disability community and you or your partner has a disability that would need a wheelchair converted vehicle, like, I'm not every day talking to my friends like, bro, you should really get a wheelchair accessible van. Like, they got all the things.
Yeah.
So, like, in the community, like, it does what you need to do. It's a little overpriced in my opinion. So are all vehicles. Like,
Well, that's the thing. They sort of they've got you by the short hairs, so to speak. Like we don't have the ability to like go buy a $18,000 smart car because like you can't convert that.
yeah.
But
I mean, once upon a time, Honda did convert, like, Honda Elements. They did, like, the Kia, like, the smaller
but they stopped
Kia
doing
Souls, but they all stopped converting
because
that.
they were trash conversions.
Yeah.
So it's you're stuck buying the $40,000
Minivan.
van.
But to be fair, I will suggest, if you are not a minivan fan, these things are literally awesome. Like, they're trucks but enclosed. They have so much space. They're multifunctional. Like,
Did you convert a SUV, the Traverse?
they did, yeah.
But we've been told that conversion isn't great either. Also, you talk about expensive. That's like a $120,000 conversion.
I mean, they also do convert trucks.
True.
Which, I mean, do with that what you would like with that information. It's also way more expensive than a van. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're looking for the more economical version, like, the minivan is where it's at.
Yeah.
So
and honestly, probably the Toyota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Like, in terms of price, Toyota is
Yeah.
on the, like, more reliable end of cheaper in that. So, I mean, I guess that kind of wraps up my rant.
Does that mean I'll never have to listen to this again?
You know what? I will hold up my end of the bargain. You're right. You will never have to listen to this again.
I wish I believed that.
It's on YouTube now.
I know that you mean it. But I also know
I will be biting my tongue a
in
lot.
the heat of the moment when you're very angry and you hit your knee on the center console, there's no way you won't complain about it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, YouTube. I hope you gathered something from this. Maybe found solace in what I had to say, or maybe you're like, she's just a complaining little human. Either way, like, thanks for watching.
But you're my complaining human.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, you want to say it?
Yeah. We will catch you on the flippy flop.
Get you on the flippy flop. Don't forget to leave comments for the band name because we're at a loss. Thanks.